Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday. We made it, people. Getting ready for a weekend, getting ready to watch some Brewers baseball tonight. Champions League final tomorrow. I know you're all chomping at the bit for some soccer talk here on Cheesehead TV. But, as far as Packers news and headlines, obviously we had the OTA practice open to the media earlier this week, but as was expected, not a ton coming after that. Packers continuing to work behind the scenes, but not privy to prying eyes such as ours. But that doesn't mean we don't sit and talk about the Packers each and every day throughout the offseason here at Cheesehead TV. It's what we're all about. We're devoted to Packers fans like you worldwide. Make sure you're sticking with us all throughout the offseason. We'll be giving you all the updates, including the one small update we got today, which is the date for the next shareholders meeting. That's right. The Packers announced earlier today that July 25th, which is a Friday at 3 p.m., the annual shareholders meeting will be taking place. And apparently, while there is not yet an official schedule for training camp, they do expect practice to be held earlier that day. Most likely, probably their normal 10 a.m. start. So you can do practice in the morning and then go to the shareholders meeting in the afternoon. And it's on a Friday. So maybe you can stay over the weekend. And you got to think there'll probably be a few more practices happening. Good timing, I think, for the Packers. Training camp itself begins a few days earlier on July 23rd, that Wednesday. So it'll be a good stretch to be there in Green Bay. I'll be probably arriving a little bit after the shareholders meeting. I'll probably get in Sunday just because I don't like to get there when they're still in shorts. I want to wait for the pads to come on. But if you've never been to the shareholders meeting, it's a good opportunity to do so, mostly because it'll be the first time Ed Policy will be basically the man in charge running the show. We've had Mark Murphy up there for the last, 16 years or so, 18 years. And now Ed Policy will become, and Packers are framing this as the official kind of transfer from Mark Murphy to Ed Policy, though by the bylaws of the Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy does have to retire on his birthday, which is July 13th. That will be the day he turns 70. That will be the day he has to retire as president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers. But obviously, for public purposes, the shareholders meeting will be the first kind of moment for Ed Policy as president and CEO, unless perhaps they have some kind of media availability the week before or something like that, when the numbers are made public. I know Murphy has always done an availability after the shareholders meeting in years past, so I suspect Policy will do the same. But it's a good time to go this year. New president and CEO, obviously, very exciting young team looking to contend. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't been to a shareholders meeting, I always tell people you got to go at least once. It is a really cool and unique experience. But it's an experience that once you've had it, you probably don't need to do it again. But if you've never done it and you are a shareholder and you're thinking about, hey, maybe heading up to Green Bay, it's a good year to do so. Hello to everybody in the comment section. So good to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Stu is here, of course. Benarak, Rick Harris, how you doing? We got December King. Man, December King, you're making me pine for some winter. Making me pine for winter weather. So warm here today in Green Bay. I'm sorry, in New York, and it's only going to get warmer. I ain't a fan of it. Before I get to your comments and questions, let's give a shout out to our good friends over at Ticket King. Based in Wisconsin since 1992, Ticket King is located across the street from Lambeau Field on Oneida. They're happy to help you find just the right Packers tickets for larger groups or single tickets, both home and away. They partner with local Green Bay businesses for tailgating and bus transportation to the games, so you don't have to worry about driving or parking. They're even open on game day for last-minute tickets or possible upgrades. Hell, they even have a drive-through window. And if you're not in Green Bay, no problem. Just use the Ticket King link on the Cheesehead TV homepage or indeed in the description of this video. Don't use Ticketmaster, StubHub, SeatGeek, none of these national companies. Use a company based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. Ticket King for all your Packer ticket needs. Do it, folks. You know you'll want to. Ed, starting us off with a super chat. How are you, man? Thanks for the support. Guess the only question this year is if the NFL will measure the ring fingers of the Packers before or after the final cut. I mean, this is always a dilemma, right? I mean, the Packers traditionally are going to make a run to the Super Bowl pretty much every August, right? I mean, I think that's the expectation. It's a good question, Ed. We'll find out. TBD. Greg Brockmiller, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. Okay, Nags, Motel Men got to do a policy of truth cover in honor of the new GM. That is, that's a fun idea. We actually have just kind of sorted out the handful of covers that we're going to do when we're in Appleton for Milo Music. So come on out. It's actually the night before family night. Motel Men will be playing downtown Appleton. It's kind of become our tradition now. But yeah, we'll be back. I believe it's August 1st, that Friday night. And then family night is August 2nd. So come on out to Appleton. Here's some Motel Men. Going to be a good time. Lieutenant Dan, how you doing, man? Thanks for hanging out at happy hour the other night. It's good to hear from you. Got to think LaFleur has to exceed some basic expectations this year with the new CEO coming in. This is an interesting point, Dan, and I know I've seen both kind of viewpoints echoed around the internet, right? The idea that, well, yes, he's Murphy's guy. Murphy hired him along with, obviously, with a few other, Russ Ball and Brian Gutekunst were both involved in the hiring process, but that's Murphy's call, essentially, right? Pulling the trigger there, along with Brian Gutekunst and Russ Ball, and all three of them reporting to Murphy. So now the question becomes, is this the group that policy wants to kind of hitch his wagon to? And I suspect it is. I think he's been obviously maybe not in the room, but privy to all the conversations that they've been having as far as their plans for the future, what they are looking for as far as the team goes, etc. But I will say, you get off on the wrong foot here that first year with Ed in charge and maybe underperform as a team that, yes, has been young, but has made the playoffs. And you would expect some kind of step forward, or a team that has, won 9, then 11, and now hopefully more games, get back to winning a division maybe. Definitely want to see another playoff appearance, if not a deep run. Those are the expectations, right? You fall short of those, I could see policy maybe starting to maybe get a little impatient. It's not his guy. He didn't pull the trigger on it. We've seen this so many times in the NFL as far as I didn't make that hire. I didn't make that draft pick. I want my guy. Now, again, I think that it's a possibility, but I don't think it's a likely one, right? But yes, I think the onus is on LaFleur to have a very good season, right? And obviously that's in conjunction with Brian Gutekunst and the roster he's provided. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of pressure on LaFleur this year in that regard. And I think that would be true even if Murphy was still the president, right? Like, think most folks, both inside the building and out, are expecting some continuous progression here, right? Can't keep sliding into the playoffs as the 7th seed, right? And I understand they won 11 games last year, but we all know they did not measure up to the division. They've got to get back to not just measuring up with the division, but beating the division, which is something LaFleur did a lot of early on. So that's a long-winded way of saying you're not wrong, Dan. I think you're onto something there. Heebs, what's going on, man? Thanks for checking out the stream. Aaron, do they ever put out the board of directors meeting and what they discussed? Traditionally, no, not that I can think of. Usually that's all behind closed doors and not something that's for public consumption. At least not that I can remember. Chuck Olsen, what's up, man? Aaron, I just suffered through both a Yankees and a Coach Prime per Chime commercial for you. Well, Chuck, I appreciate it, man. Someone's got to help me pay the rent here in New York City. Trying to help support 3 kids, hey, man, I love you guys, but I'm here for my health. I appreciate it, dude. I'm just saying you could, become a Care of the G Club member. Then you get fewer commercials. Just throwing it out there. Oh, boy. GHP, what's up, man? Do you think Love takes that year 3 starter leap from his first year starting? Talked about this pretty extensively yesterday, man, but I will say it was funny to watch some of the responses to that, both comments here on YouTube, but also over at cheeseheadtv.com. It's funny because I say, oh, there are some naysayers out there, and everyone's, there are no naysayers, and then all the naysayers come out of the woodwork to show themselves. But yeah, I think he can. The question is, will he? He's just got to put a consistent season together. He's had spurts, and that's kind of been his MO as a quarterback. I know, and obviously, the injuries last year color everything, right? You can't ignore it. But yes, he needs to have a full season. Obviously, you want to play every game, but just outside of that, not have the somewhat streaky up and down performances that we've seen, regardless of, what year it was, who his sporting cast is, etc. There's something to be said for who you have to play with, no doubt about it. That is a big component of wins and losses in the NFL. But at some point, if you are the elite quarterback that the Packers are expecting you to be, you should be kind of raising that tide, right? For all those boats. You are the superstar. You are going to make people better. And that's what, you go back to Mike McCarthy's quote years and years ago, talking about how all the players in the NFL are good, essentially, because they wouldn't be in the NFL if they weren't. But it's, the delineation of a great player is a player who makes everyone else around them better. And I think if Jordan can be consistent, more consistent all throughout his game, I think he has the capacity and the ability to do exactly that, which is why I'm so excited about him and the potential for him, this team, the offense, everything that they can accomplish is because I think Jordan has special ability. You just got to be able to do it week in, week out, hell, game in, game out, down in, down out, drive in, drive out. That's your job as a quarterback. And to be one of the best, you've got to do it consistently. And that's where I think he takes that step this year. That's the hope, anyway. We shall see. Brandy, how are you? Thanks for the super chat. Look at the running back use currently and think about Aaron Ripkowski's rushing TD. It took until November of that year to get one. Man, see, this is the sad part. Brandy, I totally hear what you're saying. And yes, it is a very different approach, right? Matt is certainly pounding the rock and using these guys in a lot of variety of ways, definitely within the 5-yard line in the red zone, getting into the end zone. But man, you say the name Aaron Ripkowski, and all I think about is that fumble in the playoffs in Atlanta, which is unfortunate because he did a lot of really good stuff in a Packers uniform. But damn, if that isn't the first thing I always think of when I see his name. Which is really, again, it's upsetting. It's not fair to him. But man, that game got away from them because of mistakes like that. Not that I'm bitter or have I sat here and dwelled on it for years. No, not at all. But yeah, that's what I think of when I see his name. Sorry, Aaron. Menace, how are you, man? Thanks for the super chat. This is the year the Lambeau Winter Mystique returns. The fear that opponents feel having to go to 1265 under 32 degrees. Our own 12th man will be back. Menace, I'm going to quote C-3PO from, I believe, Return of the Jedi. I wish I had your confidence. Man, I love this idea. But that's what it is. It's an idea. I mean, there are a couple things at play here. One, obviously, is the play of the team itself. Now, they don't even have that many opportunities this season, late in the season, to play at Lambeau. Not like you would hope, right? Especially not against warmer weather opponents. But that said, fine, okay, win a bunch of games and get home playoff games, right? So you're playing in January, which is even better. Or at least it used to be. And then the component of the fandom, man, you've seen how this kind of turn at Lambeau has kind of taken place over the last decade of, those opposing fans. It's pretty easy to get a ticket. And I know the Packers have gone through or to some lengths to try and stem that and turn that tide. But man, I talked about this the other day. I get it. People are selling their tickets later in the season, especially older folks, because they don't want to sit in the cold in the first place, but they certainly don't want to sit in the cold and watch the Packers lose. I mean, ask anyone who was at that 49ers game. That's a brutal experience. So I hope so, man. I'd love it. It would be wonderful. It would be an excellent kind of course correction, so to speak. But it feels like that genie being out of the bottle is going to be hard to get back in. Furial. What's up, man? Thanks for checking out the stream. I saw a stat today that of the 103 wide receivers with over 60 targets, Reed was 103 and Wicks 102 on the list of incompletion percentage due to wide receiver error. They clean that up, Love will be fine. I think I saw some of what you are talking about. I believe Warren Sharp put some of that out. Man, I'm always dubious about that stuff because, like, who's doing the charting and how is that being compiled? What aspects are they looking at as far as, okay, what's the route? What's the adjustment due to coverage? What have they been told? Hell, at the line of scrimmage, let alone in the huddle. What are the coaches asking them to do? Maybe on the sidelines, looking at the kind of pictures, right? There's so many variables that it's really hard for me to sit here and go, oh, somebody's broken this down and become like blazingly obvious about wide receiver errors in relation to what the play was and the quarterback and how they're reading the defense, all this stuff that goes into it. I don't know, man. It's tough. Now, you can very easily say, if Reed and Wicks just start catching the ball on third down, yeah, this offense can take off. And that's much more. I buy that and I'll take that. And yes, that is a more than fair criticism and something that they can easily correct. I'm down with that. Let's go. Catch the ball on third down. Not only do you extend drive, you give yourself more opportunity to score points. That's my life. I'm down with it. Joe, thanks for the super chat, man. Could the continued transition to more of a power running game give the Packers more of an edge in cold/bad weather? That's the dream. We shall see. I really hope so. I somewhat think maybe that's part of why you saw LaFleur lean into it as much as he did last year, trying to become that type of team, right? And now you got the addition of Banks up front, got a bigger offensive line. Maybe, hopefully. Again, that's a great plan, but everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. We shall see. But I love that idea. Absolutely. This is a decent point. Yeah. Richard. Back when Murphy got hired, he kept Thompson and McCarthy. Yes, he did. That's why, I'm not saying that it's automatic that he's going to want his own guys, but he has every right to do so if he does. And we don't know. That's the other thing. I mean, he's got the stretch where he ran the Arena League, but he's been in Green Bay for a very long time now, like 13, 15, 16 years, somewhere around there. And, they've been somewhat kind of, preparing him for this. That has seemingly been the plan to, somewhat groom him for this job, right? And you think, yeah, he's ingrained in the Green Bay way of doing things. I don't think he's going to do anything for selfish reasons or anything like that. I think he knows how obviously the organization works, but how the organization works both on the football side and obviously definitely on the financial side and within the community, which is another important component. So I don't think he's going to rock the boat just to do it because he doesn't like someone or a relationship or whatever. But it is a results-oriented business, and if the results aren't there, it's not like Matt and Brian have 10-year contracts. Those things will be up quick, and then he has some decisions to make. And this is, of course, if they aren't winning. Now, they win a bunch of games, they win the division, they go on a Super Bowl run. Yeah, it's going to be easy to sign them to an extension, but that's why I was saying, it's a a little touch of added kind of pressure for LaFleur and company. Brandy, thanks again. Okay to hope for the same type of year from McKinney? Yes, it's okay to hope for even better from McKinney. But yes, absolutely, 100%. No doubt. That's the standard. And that's it's an old joke that coaches talk about. Matt has referenced this several times at the podium, but you done messed up, kid. You played so well. Now that's the expectation. Yes, 100%. Last year, everything he did coming in, being an all pro, that is expected. And he's good enough to do it. He's good enough to back that up. He's good enough to build on that and get even better. No doubt about it. I'm very excited for year 2 in this system. Well, Peter, that's a fair question. Hey, Aaron, caught a live one. Does Love tilt the field? Yes, but not consistently. And that's the trick. And that's where he needs to improve. I think that's a more than fair question. I think you've seen certainly evidence of it throughout his time so far, 2 years as a starter. Now, obviously dealing with injuries last year, colors a lot. But and I talked about this yesterday, you've certainly seen plenty of moments and throws and plays where you kind of blinked, whoa, that's pretty damn special. Now, the trick is to still be able to access that, but be able to consistently move the ball, score points, lead your team to victory again and again and again. Consistency. When he starts doing that, he will absolutely be one of those type of players that tilts the field just by coming out of the tunnel, right? You've heard, I'm sure, Ron Wolf talk about that in regards to Brett Favre. We all saw Aaron Rodgers do that for years. And the key to that was their consistent greatness. And I think Love has that capacity. He's just got to start doing it consistently. What else we got? Jim, X wants a gold jacket, so he better play well. I mean, that's part of it, right? And that's a great goal for him. I mean, he had a really, the thing is so funny. It's like he was an all pro last year, but it's not like he was some scrub in New York. Like, he was a good player for the Giants. I mean, the Packers are incredibly lucky that they decided to let him walk. But yeah, it's certainly attainable, the idea of building on what he did last year and getting even better. Norman Gratz the third is here. Aaron, what's up, man? What's up, man? How are you? Hope things are good out west, and you better be coming to training camp at some point, dude. Gotta have our annual Anduzzi's hang. It's always good stuff. All right, buddy. I'm gonna have to get going. I cannot thank you guys enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go Pack Go.